Hello, everybody. We are here with Coach Jack Raby. And Jack, tell us a bit about what got you into coaching and talk about the '82 championship year.
Well, after I got out of the military, I went back to school and got my degree. And of course, coaches have meant so much to me over the years, and I just felt like that I wanted to maybe have the same opportunities with young people to teach them some things about the sport and about life too. And so the coaching helped me a lot in the military, my coaches, and so I just wanted to come back home after I got my degree and do the same thing. So I really enjoyed it. Had some great people, great athletes, great coaches that I coached with, and we had a lot of success, and that always makes things a little bit better. And of course, in 1982, we won the state championship, which really was unbelievable almost, and then of course we've had a couple of championships later on, but that first one is always the nicest and the best or whatever. So I've really enjoyed coaching over the years and running into my former players and seeing the lives that they've lived, and it was really rewarding.
Talk about what the years before the state championship and the leadership, and could you ever believe that would ever happen?
Well, it's hard to predict success, other than the fact is that knowing some of the ingredients that you have to put in there to make it happen. And I think building the stadium at Lincoln County contributed so much to a lot more support, and then we had the junior high systems that were feeding in players that had a lot of experience, and so it just all fell in together. We had a great coaching staff. There's no jealousy on the staff. Some people say, well, if they were an offensive coach, they wanted to. Well, everybody coached the offensive position and a defensive position, so we couldn't try to sit there and handpick anybody to go on our other side, because we coached both positions. But a lot of support from the community, and then we just hit that group of kids that were self-motivators, and they took our coaching, and they just, I hate to use the term overachievers, because if they achieved it, it's not overachievers. They had it in there, but you hear that expression all the time. But it was really a wonderful experience, and I think the community will remember it for a long time.
It kind of brought Lincoln County together, as the high school was new at the time and still going through some growing pains. This win seemed to have brought us all together.
Yeah, and of course, I understand all the communities hated to lose their schools that they had, maybe gone to school there and had kids that were going there, and but when everybody came together, I think that helped to cement some of the relations. And then, of course, when you start having some success, that makes everything better. But I'd always have people to say, well, Coach, how many boys you got from Flintville? How many you got from Blanche? How many you got from the city? And I say, I don't know. I don't ask them where they come from. When they come out, I coach them, and tell you the truth, I don't want to know where they come from or whatever. But it's just, I guess, human nature that I guess they wanted their kids to be treated fairly, and I think everybody was or whatever. So,
tell us about the leadership of Coach John Meadows.
Well, Coach Meadows was a character, I'm telling you. great football mind. Had some stories that that I don't think Mark Twain could top some of the stories that Coach Meadows had, but he was just a good person. He lived football. He would get the kids over to his house a lot, and a lot of times at the end of practices, and we had long, hard practices, he'd want to get out there and start telling some of his tales or whatever. And Coach Edgin and Coach Perrin and Coach Palmer, some of us, we'd already heard them about 100 times anyway, and we'd say, "Oh, mercy, Coach, they need to get home and get something to eat and drink and do their homework." But he was a character, and I learned a lot from him, and he was good for the community, and we all miss him. He was good everywhere he went. He was successful, and the administration did a good job of finding him and hiring him. And of course, he had retired in Alabama, and so he almost was doing this as a hobby, because the pay that he got in Alabama was unbelievable, and then what he got here was little or nothing. But he wasn't doing it for pay. As a matter of fact, none of the coaches here were, because a lot of the other coaches around would laugh at us about how much or how little we got paid. But again, we didn't do it for pay either. This was our home. We were coaching here where we wanted to coach, and we all had offers to go other places, but we wanted to stay right here in our community.
That's good. Tell us a little bit about some of the players on that team that excelled.
Well, we had a lot that really were very successful, and were real good. And I hate to really name individuals because everybody contributed. I guess Tim Johnson was the one that ended up getting the scholarship to Vanderbilt, and some of the coaches or the scouts, thought he was a marginal player because of his size. But we convinced a lot of them that said, "Listen, he's a competitor, he's good, he's got the ability, and he'll make everybody around him better." And then, we just had so many people that contributed. If I was a college scout, I doubt if I would have signed many either. But they were great high school football players, and with all the team effort, that's what brought us our success, and that's what won the ball games for us. I remember I was buying some life insurance from a friend of mine in Winchester, and he asked me, he said, "Jack, what do you think that the season's going to be like?" And my wife was sitting at the table there, kitchen table, and I said, "Lou," I said, this is Lou Pfister from Winchester, and I said, "You're not going to believe what I'm going to say, but if we don't get anybody hurt, we will win the state championship." And he said, "What?" My wife almost fainted because I've always been sort of low key about knowing anything could happen. And sure enough, I also said, "I think we'll go undefeated." And of course, we opened up with Franklin County, and whoever won that game would go to the playoffs. They didn't have all this elaborate playoff system back then, And but sure enough, Marcus Webb, tremendous athlete, we've lost him several years ago. He got hurt in practice one day. He hurt his ankle, and when we went to Riverdale, we didn't have him, and we lost to them, and that was the only game that we lost. But he recovered, and of course he scored a long touchdown run there early in the Clinic Bowl, and that sort of set the tone, and I think let our fans and definitely let the coaches breathe a little bit easier, because Gallatin they were a formidable opponent, and they had some tremendous athletes, but so did we. We just weren't college prospects, maybe.
As you look at that play, which we have video of, the last play, we don't have any video evidence of the win. Can you explain that particular play and how it went down?
Yeah. I'm sure our entire coaching staff had an idea about what we were going to run, but Coach met us. I was up in the press box, and Minnie Pearl was in the press box right beside me, you know. But anyway, that comes a little bit later. Coach Meta says, Jack, and he, you know how he would always like spit like he was spitting out some chewing tobacco or something, but he'd say, Jack, what's going to be our first play in overtime? And I said, Coach, we're going to run sweep right, sweep right, sweep right, sweep right. And we're either going to go home as the number 2 in the state or with a state championship. And of course, luckily we didn't have to run it but once. And for some reason, Gallatin thought we were probably going to run off tackle. So they were pinching their defensive ends, you know, putting them down in the tackles. So I knew our tight end would end up just walling them off. And then we had 3 blockers going out. And Gallatin had a real good cornerback out there. I don't remember his name. I don't remember where he went to school, but I think he played college ball. And he came up and he hit Tim Johnson, I guess about the 3 or 4 yard line or whatever. And Tim was able to hold on the ball because he made a very good hit on him, but Tim held on and went on into the end zone. And then, of course, when he did, I threw my headsets up. I let out a yell, and I never will forget, Minnie Pearl looked at me. She grinned, and she yelled and went up there like that too. I wished I had it on film, but it was a great experience. You know, we were all in shock or whatever, you know. But it was a great time.
What do you remember after the game?
Well, to tell you the truth, I remember that Coach Perrin and Coach Etch and Coach Bont, we were sitting there. I'm sure Coach Meadows was off talking to someplace else. He was probably talking football about something else. But we were just sitting there, and we were sort of in a daze in a way that it was over. And then we kept saying, man, this is just something else. I can't believe that it happened, but I can believe it because I predicted it. And I said, this is great for the community. It's just great for all our fans. And I think at the time, it may have been one of the largest crowds to see the Clinic Bowl. Of course, Gallatin brought a lot of people too. And of course, everybody in town, or the entire county went up there almost. And it was just like I say, unbelievable event.
All right, anything else you want to talk about?
Well,
thought about that you would like to tell?
Well, it's just good to see some of those people, you know, coming in and you know, every now and then. And we had a little reunion one time, and then we, of course, in 1990 we won the state championship again, but then we had some good ball players then. And of course, we've had some excellent athletes through the years. Many of them have gone on to play pro football, which is, you know, really unusual. I say we've had about as many in this county as just about any small county around. You know, we get some of the bigger schools like Murfreesboro, Knoxville, and Memphis and things like that, you know, have so-called more athletes to pick from. But I've been very fortunate to coach a lot of tremendous ball players, and even the ones that weren't great athletes, it was a privilege to coach them. And that's one thing I used to always say: everybody on the team is important. You know, you may not get much playing time, but hey, without you, we wouldn't even have anybody to practice against. You know, so and then I think they, you know, got a lot of things out of the team effort too. You know, that's what athletics is all about. It's really about that rather than just winning. You know, it's winning off the field rather than on the field.
Absolutely. Thank you. Anything else?
That ought to get it.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Appreciate it.